Page Road, Lenoir City, Tennessee. Interview conducted by Dr. Charles Johnson of the History Department, University of Tennessee. Interview conducted on Wednesday, February 28th, 1990, in my office. Just talk. I know that's not.
Well, I tell you, as I came here today, I probably felt like the old gentleman talked to left go to West Point and make his last major speech. He was asked what he was going to speak about. He answered, I'm going to make a few remarks. And I think that the remarks he made were those three words, which indicate the subject he spoke on. Duty, honor, country. Have guided me a lot more than I suppose. I can't remember the day that I ever thought I would count myself out of fighting for my country. I didn't know if there'd ever be a war. But when I was reading history in the 6th grade at Mount School, every paragraph that said something about the American doughboy charged the line. I just back up and read that over and over. And I got so good at it that anybody who didn't have their topic prepared, teacher, I know her name, say, Billy, can you take this one? I would stand right up because I always read everybody's. And it wasn't hard for me, Dr. Johnson, because it sunk in. It just went right into me. It thrilled me so.
I wonder, where did they come from your family, you think, or?
My dad, as you know, I'm a great MacArthur follower. My dad didn't bring me up like General MacArthur. But when he gassed those boys, my dad was mad. And he blamed him because he didn't know or realize the chain of command. Mm-hmm. MacArthur was giving orders to get those people out of the White House locked. How else you going to do it? You can't shoot it. Mm-hmm. So that got me wanting to know the real truth about history. And I thought today, I knew you might ask me that, and I thought, well, it wasn't a matter of whether you were brave or not. It was a matter of honor. It was a matter of duty to your country. Somebody bought you this liberty, and if you want to keep it, I already had my mind made up that if I was needed, I didn't really care who was right and who was wrong. I don't question that. You assume that your beloved country is right.
The question just didn't come up.
That never entered my mind. Now, when I joined the Navy on December the 8th, I was on the football team out here at Young High School. I was popular and had a lot of girlfriends.
You were a senior then?
I was junior. See, I'd run off from home twice. Papa worked on me too much. That's the word he used for
using the switch or the stick.
Or worse than that. He was a disciplinarian. So I tried to escape that a couple of times. But I joined and I went home that night. See, I was sort of the leader of that group. Everybody said, were you bad, son? Oh, I said, he was sorry. He was real mad. He was very mad when I joined the Navy.
Really? Why do you think?
Oh, he says, you're going to be a schoolboy.
Oh.
And for 3 days, I sucked up. I'd try to forge his name. I'd get Fred Berry out here to certified. His dad's signature. He just picked up the phone, called my dad. That dirty fool. But I know Dad warned me on the morning of the 11th. He said, "You're going to keep on. So I give you something to soak up about." My little sister come in and said, "Dad, why don't you just sign it? He's awful." I go up in the cemetery that night and sit up there and sulk. I wanted to fight for my country. I never dreamed that they were fighters also. That didn't enter my mind. Forget that. I guess that didn't really dawn on me till the day we were sunk. We traveled to the Coral Sea. As we went out from San Francisco, our commander was Senior Officer President Float. And he thought that tanker was a warship. We had Japanese subs in the area and a torpedo fired at us. You know what we were going to get them with? 50 caliber machine gun. But I had no fear at all. We'll get them. See, they missed us. We were loaded with gasoline, you know, where I would be. So when we went to the Coral Sea from Hawaii, we went unescorted. I exaggerated. Zigzag.
Did you spend very much time in Hawaii before you went?
Just loaded up. See, we went out and something happened to the engine. We come back, they fixed that quickly, and we got to Hawaii by the last of January 1942.
So you got there in a hurry.
Oh, yes. They needed people and fuel down there and chips.
Where'd you go to boot camp?
San Diego. About 2.5 weeks of shots and mess cooking. Not very much of anything else. We had a little bit of knot tying. But we weren't exactly dummies. We were pretty smart guys. I didn't have any trouble. Some guys didn't get much on there, but
were you with anybody you knew, or had you?
They separated me from every guy I knew. I made plans for that Navy recruiter, and I kept my promise too. I'll tell you about that. I wasn't with anybody. I was with one guy from Knoxville, and his name was Russell Nelson. He retired here from UT as he worked in the library. So we went down there steaming, unescorted, and we went into Nuku'alofa is the capital of the little island, Tonga. And it's just flat. And the seas get real rough in there. And I was put in boats. I started running boats in there. And the chief wouldn't give me a bow hook. And I remember one storm come there, and the executive officer was over there playing golf, and I had to go pick him up. And when I got him back to the ship, you know, you'll see almost the keel of the ship, and all at once it's up here. And he got on that executive ladder, and that boat threw him up on the ship. And then, I'm just a little guy off the farm about 2 months now. And boy, the officer of the deck really got on me for letting that executive officer get tossed around like that. And then I have to get a boat out of the water too, and that was very interesting. Well, we were down there, and our job was going out and fueling day and night. Every time we'd use all our fuel, here come a big old SO tanker. Push right down in the water. And see, the old USS Kanawha and the battleship California, the people, those are the two ships that invented fueling at sea for the U.S. Navy. My ship numbers, auxiliary oiler number 1.
Well, you told me when that was commissioned.
1914.
1914.
She's the oldest in the fleet, and our chief was so dumb, he wanted us to look like a brand new, and the Australians thought we were a brand new ship. We painted every day it rained. We had to be busy. So then the battles, all the battles down there, we fueled Yorktown, she went up with sunk. We fueled the Enterprise, she was sunk. The Wasp, she was sunk. We were on our way to fuel Lexington when she got sunk. So all the ships that we fueled didn't turn out very good. Like we fueled the Portland, the Astoria, the Vincennes. We fueled all of them.
Didn't happen. So
see, there was good other tankers down there, Navy tankers that knew the method of fueling at sea. Merchant tankers didn't do this. Well,
But the Kanawha was the only.
Kanawha, we did it. We were out there day and night, you know, no lights. You're doing all this stuff in dark. And we do it at daytime too. So when we went out one night to fuel submarines, next to Japanese sub, and the destroyer started dropping depth charges. I mean, one right after another, and they split our seams on this old tanker. We leaked oil in all over the Pacific, and they could track us real good. So we were really in danger, and we had to come back into the yard to get those rivets tightened up there.
The yard being.
I believe that we came into San Francisco in November of 1942. I know we did. That's where they fixed those plates that were loosened. Mm-hmm. I think one of the newer oilers relieved us. And while there, we had a chance to get a little liberty, and I believe that's when I came home to Knoxville on an 18-day leave. Yes. And then back over, and this time we were right back to fueling the Helena and all these combatant ships. And then we'd run back into either Suva, Fiji, or Espiritu Santos. We went into Samoa, the American Samoa. We hit all of those little islands around there.
Load up with fuel oil.
Oh yes, and fuel. Okay. I mean, it was a long hours, but we were doing our job, and we should have had accommodation. Nobody did more than we did. And on April the 7th, before we loaded up again, we had fuel. Helena, I know, was one of them. Several of those light cruisers that were making runs up at the ball and towards the truck. Mm-hmm. So when we got that call, we were in there with a New Zealand Corvette.
How big a crew does the Kanawha carry?
220 is what I remember. There are people that say we didn't have but 219 or
well,
so,
close enough.
but about 220, and that includes the engineers and the deckhands. I was a deckhand. I had gone in the Navy to be an aviation machinist mate, because that's what my brother Walter was. But you see, that recruiter here in Knoxville just told you anything, man, to get you on that line. I didn't want to be a boatswain for sure. And here they've got me running a boat, and the chief saying, he talked outside of the mouth, "Hey, Mac, you make a great boatswain." I said, "I'll never be one." I didn't want that. Anyway, on April the 7th, 98 planes, the second biggest raid the Japanese ever sent against the Guadalcanal Tulagi complex. And they attacked Guadalcanal and sunk a LST and a destroyer over there. I believe the El Norte was the destroyer. And we got underway as fast as we could. We were loaded with diesel oil, and we had diesel oil in the gasoline tanks. That's another thing that was good that day. But the first bomb's going to hit in there. And we started out there.
Is that gasoline tank forward or astern? Or
forward. Yeah, and back we had black oil. We had 6 feet max freeway. Well, we took out there with the maximum design speed. We was trying to reach 14 knots. I don't think we ever got to there. Those bombs started hitting. So as I was showing you on the map, I thought we got nearer Savo Island than we did. But those bombs stopped us, you know. And since they hit in the diesel fuel, and the bomb blast is very hot. You know, it burned my best buddy, Macbeth, was burned bad. And a lot of guys, heavy skin, lots of skin was blowing in the wind. But I went one better. I undressed. I was on a 20 millimeter on the forecastle, port side. We put at least one full magazine into a Grumman, an American plane that was coming towards us. He had been damaged, but we hadn't had any identification. So somebody yelled, "Don't take a chance. He might be a Japanese." Kentucky boy, he put that old 20 millimeter up there, and we could see those tracers hitting that plane. He landed on Tonga and said that the tanker shot him down. But we had credit for 5 different authorities, say 5 or 7 that we shot out. It was so many. 64 attacked us.
What sort of armament did they kind of have?
Oh, okay, that's a good. We had 4 3-inch 50s with a setup bomber white, bomber blue, bomber red. These were settings of the fuse. The fuse on the projectile. Bomber white was way up, and then bomber blue, bomber red means they're ready to hit us. So we opened up on bomber white at the maximum altitude. And when you hear the 20 millimeters go, you know, hey, it's on us. So we opened with those 3-inch 50s. We also had 2 5-inch 51s on the stern. That was in case we were used to bombarded islands, I guess. But they don't elevate by 17 degrees. You can't really shoot at planes unless they're torpedo runs. But on the battleship, we used them against torpedoes. We fired a lot. And my gun was the last gun to fire. They had got our position the night before was, well, I can't say the first words on tape, but they called him Charlie. He found out where we were. He just cruised around up there. Nobody would shoot at him, because we didn't want to tell him the exact spot we were in. But he was up there. He was up there every night. The Japanese snooping. So after that, we were sent to different places. Some of the guys, I don't know what they rode out there. Some of them rode LSTs. I find out at our reunion, several of them ended up in Australia. But wouldn't you know, I got on the USS Pathfinder. And the skipper on there thought he was on a battleship. He was just bristling to meet a Japanese battleship. We were whooping. So I was put on a 3-inch 50 gun on there as we went from Guadalcanal to New Caledonia.
Now, when the Kanawha was hit, you said it was hit with 4 times?
Yes. Forward gasoline tanks, once just after the bridge, which either was the after part of the gasoline tanks or the forward part of the black oil. And then once through the engine room and once through the fire room.
Well, do you think it was one stick of bombs that hit, or was it different
No, I
planes?
don't. Those bombs just lifted that thing. I remember hanging on to this gun crank that you crank the gun, and it just almost bounced you off the ship. And we had life jackets on. Thank goodness. Because some of the guys probably got blown over the side. I didn't, but it come close. And I tried to launch a raft, and it would not launch. In practice, it launched. I don't know if it had a launch with me in front of it pulling. It would have driven me right into Iron Bottom Sound there. It didn't. It was still on there when I left. And we only got one boat off. The pulling whale boat. That means the one that didn't have any motorized. We pull it with oars. That's all we got off. With some wounded guys in there, I helped tie one man to that floater hose. It's about 8 inches diameter and about 15 feet long. And they got rings that's vulcanized right in there. And we tied him to there. He was burned pretty bad. I don't remember his name. I know that I helped tie him on that because we had to look out for each other. There's sharks in that water, very thick. And the joke was that they like white meat. There's been a lot of Japanese sailors eaten by sharks there. The men were in pretty. See, we went over to Tulagi there, and the Marines kind of took us over. Survivors. I was in the water less than 3 hours, probably close to 3 hours.
The water was pretty warm.
Wasn't bad. That didn't bother me. The sharks bothered me, and the machine gun. They did scrape us.
This was during the day or at night?
That was during the day, about 2:30 in the afternoon. The strafing was we thought that was dirty war. But the Japanese would do that. You know that from the time. They did things that we didn't really see was any use. When we got to New Caledonia, we were supposed to be on recreation, but they used us. I've never worked harder in my life. We had to build roads for the Army trucks that was bringing us some food and stuff to eat. Got bogged down. It rains in New Caledonia. And they were in up to their axle, and we had to build roads. To build the roads, we carried rock down the creek in half barrels. We cut a steel barrel in two and put poles on it, carry those rocks and fill those ruts. So we really worked very hard, and we were glad to get reassigned.
How many casualties did the Canada?
Okay, on that, Dr. Johnson, as close as I can determine, 19 killed. 19 killed. And many wounded. I wasn't wounded.
How long did it stay up?
That stayed up a long time.
Even with 4 bombs?
Yes, stayed up a long time. In fact, they put a boarding party back on there and found 2 men alive, thank God. And I met one of those men at our reunion in St. Louis. Was he ever glad? He was trapped. He and this other man was trapped in a place that you're supposed to be able to escape, but it's bolted down, it's dogged down from the top. You can't get out, and they're dying. Steam, and boarding party went back on there. That thing was taken under tow as it was going down by the stern, and this tugboat took it and jammed it into a bar, and it slid off the bar and sunk that night. It didn't actually go down that night. To bring you up to date, we had the bell off of it at our reunion in St. Louis. One of the guys is rich, and he paid the Australians, got that bell for him.
Down and dove for the bell?
Oh, the Australians had it down around Guadalcanal on the golf course, USS Kanawha. And this Antonio, can't think of his name. He has money, and he offered $5,000 for that bell. We wouldn't let him have it. But anyway, it was moved to Australia, and this guy wrote to Tony, answering his letters, says, you pay it away for my daughter to Disneyland and keep her a couple of weeks over there and send her back home, and the bell is yours. He did it. Cost him just close to $5,000. But he says that Australian girl was so nice, he'd do it again. So we have the bell each reunion with us.
That's nice.
Yeah, it really makes you feel it down in your heart. That's our bell. Not many guys would do that. So we made up a fund, $5 a year from every guy to pay for the transportation of that bell to each reunion. We went to New Caledonia. We were reassigned after 2 or 3 months. They worked us in the warehouses. They worked us out there in the mud hole. They actually put us over there in a little village called Dumbia. Me and my best buddy snuck out there one night looking for wine and women. And we found the women, but there were too many guys in line. And then we found something that I guess nobody knew what back there in those hills. It was a classy place where dressed up people go. They were just in dungarees. You didn't go any place in dungarees. In the Navy, we got in there by trading some wine to those native French soldiers who had bayonets in us. They can't talk English. They almost got us. So we held up that wine. They let us in, and we danced with these ladies in dungarees. We had one night of fun at Dumbia. I don't know what that village was. It's back in the hills, though. And then, let's see what we do. Pretty soon we were assigned to most of the guys that made it to New Caledonia, so some went to Australia. Were assigned to the USS Maryland and the USS Colorado, I think 22 to each ship. That was a sad, sad day on May the 19th, 1943. See, we were sunk on April the 7th. As we still, I remember saying, God, I hope we never get there. gosh, look at the men. That thing's covered with men. We're used to 200 men. There's at least 2,000. I guess it was 2,200. Getting a chance to see combat sailors come aboard because they hadn't had any action. And, you know, they admired us. They treated us so good. But, you know, there's also always somebody that ruins that by being, looking down on guys. You can't do that.
You've had what happened to you, and it's not your choice, it's just the way it is.
Right. And see, they admired us, and then all it was, there's guys that ruining it for us, and they kind of down on us. But I became a trainer on a 5-inch 51 on there, and I put in for aviation machinist mate immediately. And the commander, Lieutenant Muse came to me and said, hey, there's only about 20 guys ahead of you. You better strike for something else. I was a good coach. Leading scene. I said, I don't want anything else except aviation. So, Colorado had never been in combat, and we'd go out and shoot. We could lay those 16-inch right Maryland in Mexico, and she'd go across the horizon. We throw those over there, and we could lay them right in each other's wake. And that's a very simple thing. You're matching up fire control readers 10 mils off. If you match it right on, you're going to hit. So you have to really watch to make sure you're matched up 10 mils off. We'd lay them in each other's wake. See, our range was 33,000 yards, just about right on. So you know that is 16 and a half miles. We figured about 17 miles. And we'd put them there. We could put them right there. No problem. So you got a feeling of being secure. However, we knew that day was coming. And here this little old Kentucky boy, Dublin, Paducah. Who ever heard of Paducah? We got to be buddies. They put us on 2 of those barges up there in a little stream, hid in the bushes, loaded with powder and shell. We've got a 45 and an Avery flare gun here. We think we can whip the whole Japanese fleet. We have no fear at all. And they told us you might have a Japanese swimmer go and stick a dynamite on there. So, you know, it would blow half the island up. 2 big barges loaded with ammo. That was our job. Every night. We stood watch on there. No fear. It was that 45 and that flare gun, you think you got it licked. Now, I'm not saying I didn't have fear when the ship went down. I don't think that.
It must have been just a terribly shocking thing.
It was. I waked up all at once to know, hey, I even made the statement. They don't have that many planes. How dumb can you get? Those planes are diving on us. Yeah, they had that. They had a lot of planes. I don't know when they were building them. You know, those Zeros were fast, and that valve was a good dive bomber. Easy to shoot down if you hit it. Well, then on the Colorado, we were anxious to get out there and shoot, and we finally got our chance at Tarawa. By then, we went to Tarawa. I was a trainer on what side?
5-inch.
5-inch 51.
That's something I've been interested in. 5-inch 51. What does the 51 mean?
51, multiply the caliber times the inch, and you got the length of the barrel. That's 225 inches. Yeah, 255 inches. Mm-hmm. The caliber determines the width of the lambs. Mm-hmm. The lambs and the rifling. Right. That's where it comes from. 5-inch 51 has a flat trajectory. It has 3,250 velocity. Velocity. That gun has a flat trajectory. I'll tell you, it will hit. It's one of the greatest guns in the Navy or the shore battery. It's great. It's dual purpose gun, either on the shore or on the sea, but it's not really a good gun for aircraft. It only elevates 17 degrees. That's as high as it goes. Right above, we have 5-inch 25, which is anti-aircraft 5-inch. and it's loaded. It's a fixed projectile. The 551 is a bag gun. You ram the projectile into the lambs. That's why the brass ring. It seats into those lambs. Then a bag goes in. That's got to be done fast, real fast. We can shoot every 6 seconds. The 525s can beat us a little bit because it's a fixed projectile. Mm-hmm. Well, when them 25s shoot, your ears ring. See, that's fixed, and your ears will really ring. I never wore cut. I was a gun captain by then. We fired at Tarawa. Actually, I was a trainer on the port side, and the starboard side was staring easy, and the main battery was firing, and the lockers fell and hit the gun captain. He was laying on deck, taking it easy, and those lockers hit him out in the face, smashed those stones into his face. Now, I'd just been on there a few months. Pointer.
Trainer. And pointer is
like
up and
this.
down, and
Yes.
trainer is right to left.
So I was a trainer, and at Chihuahua, Dr. Johnson, the sweat. See, there he didn't show the hitting right in front of me. I can see him. See, this eye's on the scope, but this eye I can see the splashes. Get closer and closer. See, they were shooting back. That's why we had to start shooting pretty quick. They found out we were out there. And I'll tell you, we were into 1,200 yards. And we've got a range, the 5-inch got a range of 17,500 yards. The main battery's got a 33,000 yards. Here we are in at 1,200 yards. We're going to do all that.
You probably asked yourself, what am I doing?
Yeah, I did. A sweat's running down there. I remember. And I thought, don't even move, man. Don't even move. Maybe they'll go away. They didn't hit us. See, we had some luck. But
If you saw the splash.
oh, I could see him out of this eye, just getting closer and closer. And then, we didn't do a good job at Chihuahua. We were shooting too fast, throwing a lot of ammunition and not really. Those armor-piercing 16-inch were going right through those concrete bunkers and not exploding. We move on up to Roy and the Moore and the Marks. We started throwing some high-capacity 16-inch that had a nose detonator instead of a base detonator in the projector.
What does that mean?
Well, the base detonator will just go right on through there, and it takes one heck of a something to make that base detonator blow that armor piercing up. But see, a nose detonator impact will do it. A high capacity will go off on a 1/8-inch plywood after it makes 3,500 revolutions. That's how good it is. So we were putting those on Roy and the Moore and killing our enemy. Did a good job there. See, the Marines lost heavy at Chihuahua. And part of that's the Navy's fault. I say that not to criticize the Navy. We weren't doing it right.
Didn't have much experience.
None. But we did good. From then on, we knew what we were doing. I mean, right on through NOE, Todd, Philippines, we did it right. We would lay them right on target. And we would use a high-capacity shell, which is a little bit heavier than the armor piercing. And we could use a time shell, or we could use that very sensitive shell with, it would go off going through plywood. And then we had, for the 5-inch, we had what we call a magnetic fuse. Once it turned 3,500, it would go off. If the plane was here, it would go off. Magnetic
proximity fuse.
That's right. That's the name of it. So we were shooting several different kinds of ammunition through the 5-inch. We opened up on Japanese plane usually with you got a fuse setter. Mm-hmm. We would set those. Whatever the gunnery, their radar and rangefinder gave us, we would set those. And we'd start out shooting like that. And then we would switch to magnetic. If those fuses got real short, you knew the plane was on you. Well, as we went on to we went swimming there after they were still shooting at us with a rifle. We were out there swimming over. Americans, there's nobody like them. Well, we're having swim call. The enemy's still on the beach. They're shooting at us with rifles. But Captain figured we need some recreation. So I think that's the last time I went swimming in the ocean. From there, we went on, of course.
One big question before you mentioned the captain. You, of course, knew the officers a lot better on the canoas.
Yes.
200 of them. Did you, what sort of feel did you have for the officers on a battleship?
On a battleship. I had, it's something close to fear of the captain on the battleship. I mean, you figured he was untouchable. I got acquainted with the captain on the canoa when I was standing sentry on his officer country, and I was going the wrong way, or else he was going the wrong way, and we hit belly to belly, and he was really perturbed at me. And you remember, I'm just out of boot camp by about 3 weeks there when this happened. So he got to know me there. Commander Hanson was an old merchant marine officer. I love that man. He he was a great.
He was the captain of the commander.
No, Captain Granite was the captain, but Commander Hanson was a navigator.
Oh, okay.
And then we had Lieutenant Muse, who was gunny officer, Lieutenant Brockaway, who was first lieutenant. They take care of topside ground tackle, like anchors, chains, booms. They do that. They're most of these officers were Naval Reserve officers.
Naval Reserve.
Yes.
How about Granite, the captain?
Oh, he's USN. Yeah, he was on there because he ran the destroyer hull into the dock down there at San Diego. He couldn't back around. He was a speed demon, I guess. And he thought he was still on the destroyer, I guess, because we rammed everything in the fleet. We were embarrassed to go alongside him. He said, oh no, the skipper's going to do it again. And you see these guys putting these big barrel fenders over, oh, that tanker, look, wham, bang. It was embarrassing. It really was. We had a lot of the Yorktown, the one that got sunk, and she had been damaged. She wouldn't let us come alongside. We had to bolt these heavy hose sections together. You take about 4 or 5 bolts, big bolts. And that's heavy. And then lice these floater hose on there to keep them going, sinking. And send it over to the Yorktown. That's the way we fueled her.
Wouldn't let you come close?
No, she wouldn't let us go over there. And we went out to sea with the Enterprise, and her flight deck come right down on top of the forecastle. I'm on the forecastle right there. And holding that fender on the Enterprise was a guy I went to boots with. And we got together as chiefs. He almost seen me get crushed there. He didn't get that fender over there very good. He was the guy holding that fender up here, lowering it down, see, to keep us from messing up the ship. Then we broke the tow line. We finally quit using the tow line. The tow line, the principle works like this. The heavy ship puts out the tow line. All it is to help you stay alongside. Well, that line is a 12-inch hog, that's what it is. As the Manila got hard to get, as the war went on, we quit using the tow line and started using the screening method. Boy, as junior officers would come along with those destroyers, and they couldn't keep them alongside, we're so deep in the water, our draft would push them away. Mm-hmm. And they got to be just slightly slower than us, just a tiny bit. And they'd take off and be stretching that hose. Boy, our captain would be like, you get that thing alongside. These guys are maybe a lieutenant, JGs, reserve officers, doing a great job, but having trouble keeping that destroyer alongside. And then when we would fuel a carrier, we'd have trouble staying alongside because they've got draft. Mm-hmm. We got to go slightly slower than them. We get screamed at too. It's really something. It's a skill. It must be good. It's a skill. We fuel more on the battleship. We fuel more destroyers, I think, than we did even on the tanker. You see, battleship carries a lot. We fuel them on both sides. I had to rig. I was in charge. I had to rig both sides, forward and starboard. The forward fueling. Back aft, if they use the after station, they have boats and mates back there. I didn't have to rig aft, but I had to rig both sides. Yes, it's a chore. I even walked up with my 2 best buddies one night. Said, "Oh, McGill made first class. He'll never be able to rig this ship." It was in the dark. I heard him. I said, "Hey, I was rigging this as a seaman. I'll rig it. You guys can be working for me." Oh, they were embarrassed. They were talking. Yes, see, they've been on the battleship a long time. Here, I'm a newcomer. I'm a first class boatswain. I don't even have 4 years in the Navy. And mine don't really, what I say really goes. You carried tremendous authority. Nobody could talk that. One guy, didn't obey me. I put it on the report. He was telling me, He was telling his executive, nobody likes McGill. I don't really care if anybody likes McGill or not. All I know is he does a job. Get out of here. And I had to do the job. I'm too proud of it. Well, I'm not a great person. I did the job. I wasn't even doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you want to be an aviation.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be an aviator. I didn't even know they had all these crazy races. I just wanted to be what my brother was. He is my idol. That's the one that General Nayland pilot. Died at 42 and was injured flying for the Army at Fort Rucker. He was my idol, and I thought, whatever he did, I'll just be trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That caused me a lot of trouble at young high school. You know that?
Probably.
He was their champion fighter out there. Everybody expected me to follow in his footsteps. And really, I wasn't turned the same way. I was more friendly. He did.
Mm-hmm.
So when a guy indicates to me he's going to fight, I hit him. Damn. Don't argue. Just hit him. That's the way he lives life. I'm expected to do the same thing. That gives me a lot of trouble. Gives me kicked out of school a few times, too. Mama get me back in. You know what would happen to me if Dad had to get me in? You haven't got any idea. Even in high school, I get a picture. You just obey the law. Obey the law. Don't do anything that would bring any disgrace to the family, to the community, or school. You back that up. I did the same with my kids, and they're doing the same with their kids. You ever have one of my kids, Dr. Johnson, or my grandkids? When I got my certification, I told all my brothers, I told them all, I said, you better get all your kids out of school because Uncle Bill is not giving me any breaks. Oh, I get off the subject there, but you're so easy to talk to. Where were we? We were
on the Colorado up around Enrico.
Yes, we're leaving in a week now. We're getting ready for the Philippines. We got to the Philippines. We ran into a hornet's nest. Got in there in October of 1944.
That was when.
And by November, we had been hit by a suicide plane. And St. Louis had been hit several times. We watched it all. We were hit bad enough, knocked some guns off.
Where did you take the hit on?
On gun 8, killed everybody on that, and the quad 40 there. Some of my buddies. The guys on gun 8 all in my division. I'm the guy that put them there. I assigned them there. In fact, I won't get to that later because I think that's too much time. It's an individual thing. One of my boys really wanted bad to come on my gun because that was his workstation. His first name was Rock. He wanted to trade with John. John's workstation was on 8, and Rock was on gun 1. I wouldn't go for it. I said, I like the way John loads my gun, and I will keep it. They both disliked me very intensely. But you see, when the plane hit there, the last we saw Rock, all was inside hanging out. So when I met John in Seattle, signing up for unemployment, we shook hands and he stood there and cried. I said, yeah, I didn't like you, boy. That's why I'm here. So we both knew. So many guys so many guys don't look at the other side. I haven't got time to explain. The captain don't explain to me. You must. Weakness appears if you start playing and horsing around with your subordinates and explaining. You've got to you're in war. You got to say it the way it is. Go. You've got no time. So I didn't. I just said, you're not going to change. And remember, I wasn't that big a guy. I only weighed 160, and I gave everybody that opportunity. If you want to, fight, you can go down and do that. I won't put you on your foot. You with me, you with me. I wasn't really big enough to continue that conditional way. There's some big guys on there. Mm-hmm. And I fought a few times in the ring. That guy got these. I fought him, and he's the first guy I fought in the ring. He remembers it too. His name's Sutherland. Yeah, I love him more Irish loading our gun, probably. But he ran. I couldn't catch him. Now, where are we? We're back in the Philippines. We got hit, and we had to leave about midnight. Oh, we had air attacks. Oh, man. Suicide. The ship is returning to Leahy to replace the USS Maryland. She got hit worse than we did. We had to go back. That was a scary day. So then, after we secured Lake Samar, as you know, there was a big battle down there, and the old battleship, not with the Colorado. We missed it because we're back at Ulithi putting that gun on it. It blew that 5-inch gun right into it. We went back after the Maryland got out of there. I went back there and put that gun on, and then that's when the battle started. The old battleships fought the Japanese fleet and won. But I admire most those carriers and destroyer escorts and destroyers that fought the Musashi, and all that big jet battleship. Let's see, you admire Halston. So do I. They made a big mistake. He ran away with our battleships up there to Formosa.
Chasing carriers.
Yes, chasing carriers. You don't use battleships against carriers. We missed our one opportunity to slug it out. And the American Navy wanted to slug it out. He didn't run up there to miss the battle. But he did make a mistake, Johnson. There's no doubt about it. And the guys hated him. Those carrier guys hated him. They just shot him. You know, I mean, they really hurt him. What do you think? A DE? Those DEs made runs on those battleships without any hesitation. So if you want to admire the boy in the foxhole, remember the sailor on the DE too. He was quite a man. And those officers leading them. How would you like to be an officer? Okay, Lieutenant J.G. Johnson, you're drawing $100 a month. Let's see you earn it. You know, you weren't really paid that much.
Not to go into a 16-inch gun.
That's what you were 18 inches on the Musashi. Yeah. She is a sister to the Yamato. Okay, we got all that, you know, and then we went to the Sagaro Strait, and down there where we were so close going to the Mindanao Strait that on each side you could almost touch the beach. Boy, I tell you, we were sweating again. You know, we're not even at general quarters. The captain figured all they can shoot us with is rifles. We went through there at night because the U.S. Navy knows that area. Went around by what's the name of that trip? Corregidor, and we went up, steamed right into the Guyan Gulf, the craziest thing I've ever heard of. Everybody agreed. We're trapped in there. They're challenging the Japanese to come get us. And there they came after us. We get hit again on the bridge. So, bomb scores. Lieutenant Carl Baum was killed right there. He was a friend of mine. He was a lieutenant and I was the petty officer, but we were friends. He was killed there at Guyan Gulf. A lot of guys got killed on the bridge. We didn't really know if that was a bomb or if the Pennsylvania. She was falling those planes in, and it looked to me like, from my viewpoint, that she had fired into our bridge, and it looked like she was hit underneath. But it's down as a bomb. So you have to be careful that you don't make up a bunch of stories that
may or may not be true.
Right. So we just speculate. But in there, we bombarded, and it was there. Please believe me, I'm not going to ever say that this was really my deal. My crew always liked to, here come a Betty bomber right straight at our gun. And that's target angle 180. Target angle 0. You're shooting at his nose. The 180 if you're shooting at his tail. Dr. Johnson, for the second time while I was on the Colorado, I gave load. Commence firing. And for the second time, I didn't have to pay the price of the general court martial. I did it twice.
Price without orders?
Yes, I did. I swear, I did it. The plane fell. I got 2 shots at him. You can't miss with a 5-inch 51 on target angle 0. There's no earthly way you can miss. The sight setter puts it on. There's practically no deflection. Practically none. Target angle 0. That night, sure as I'm sitting here, my crew ate at the head of the trout line. The whole crew. Because it would have been, all of us would have been dead. They were after my gun. And it would have blown a big hole. That thing blew up, or he was loaded. A Betty bomber is a Mitsubishi twin-engine bomber. One of their better ones. And he was right on the water. If my gun crew hadn't been trained around, we weren't even ready to, we were standing easy. He come on there. Hey, Matt, I'm going to load. I just did it. We put 2 rounds on. I did it before too. Well, I guess if I'd have missed it, I'd have been shot for sure. So, when you do that twice, I guess I'm the only guy in the Navy who ever did it. You say, have I ever told? I've never told anybody that. Who was I telling? You're the only person. Who was I telling that? I did it.
No choices. Had to do it.
I thought I had to do it, or we're going to die in just a second. We're going to be fine. Well, okay, we got out of the Guy Gulf, as you know. We landed. I left out the fact that at Saipan, I was picked as a rapid fire shooting gun to fire right over. I'll give you the thing on Bill Jones and John Grigsby. They're Marines out of Mount Olive. They visited me right before they landed there the day before, and I got to fire rapid fire right over their head, just walking it up the beach. That's the only time I wasn't really scared. Those guys are doing so much more than me, man. I can't afford to be afraid. I wrote their names on every shell. I missed that because we were going into the Marianas, and I had it out of Sinclair. I don't know what month that was. I think it was in July or June. We shot down 300 Japanese planes or something. Tinian hit us 22 times with 8-inch shell. Killed lots of me. That's when I was wounded. But before that happened, I didn't get a lot of shooting.
So you were dueling with an 8-inch shore battery.
We were dueling with at Tinian. We were engaged in the Japanese officers training school, 8-inch shore battery. They were the first Japanese we fought that could hit you. They opened up on right on. And I mean, they cut a destroyer superstructure off. At the same time, they hit 22 times. And they really hurt us. I don't mean as far as sinking the ship. You can't. No. It just hit on those turrets, splatter. But you killed men when that shrapnel flew. And as we got underway, our wake was just hit about just full of helium. So it's a good thing we got away. 2 heavy cruisers went in to relieve us. So we got turned around and started shooting from port side too. So it was starboard side too when they hit us. That's my side. Sorry, I got that out of schedule.
That's fine. You can't always run things in secret. What kind of balloon was it? What happened?
Well, it was at Tinian. See, we had bombarded Saipan, went down the Guam, landed, came back up to Tinian in the Marianas there. And they hit a direct hit on gun 1 right above me, the 525 AA gun. That come through, and 1 8-inch went right under our gun. And that come through. And that hit me in the face, and in the arm, and in the leg. Now, I wasn't hurt that bad, and I would have soon not had any decoration. I even made those wishes clear to the captain. I determined who gets Purple Heart. But I wasn't really hurt, although they had a big travel out here, or leg and arm. But they weren't really that bad. I wasn't out of action. But some of them were pretty bad. So I had to get the gun captain on the other gun to come over and kind of help us get squared away there. really, I did something real bad. I had more powder in my gun casemate than I was authorized to have. We had a silly little thing going on called high shooting gun. When they turned us loose to see how many we could get out more rounds, rapid fire. And we were usually the winner. There was Marines back there on gun 7, and we gun 5 and 7. We like to rip the Marines. See how these crazy things you do, and why were we playing around like that? I had so much powder up there, the captain would have hung me if he knew how many rounds I had in there. Why do you take those chances?
Because you're 20 years old and 21.
And what have you got to lose?
Right. Nothing.
I was wondering if I'm going to get back home anyway. So I take a chance. It could have cost everybody their life, too. Never figured the Japanese were going to start shooting at us. We'll stand there easy. Get ready. We're going to get some more powder up here. We got projectiles every place. Anyway, those projectiles won't go off unless, you can drop one of them. It won't go off. It's got to turn first. Okay, now we're heading for Iwo Jima. But Colorado has some more damage. I don't remember where we got it. We got a lot of damage at Saipan, and we had to come back to the States for new guns. And they put North Carolina's guns in our turret, and they didn't fit properly. So the captain and the gunnery officer decided to put a few men from each division in those guns instead of taking a chance on wiping out a whole division. I was one of them that was chosen to observe at the breach. And I was there when we started shooting the North Carolina's guns, which were fitted into our turrets. They looked terrible. They didn't fit, They kind of different shaped recoil section. But they worked. We went back to war with those in there, and I am not certain what months that was. But we had those North Carolina guns for a while, and we wore those out too. See, we fired a lot of rounds at Okinawa, and we did not fire a round at Iwo Jima. We were in that force, but with some problem, I believe, in the boilers or something. We arrived there when the battleship had quit shooting. We were definitely part of the Iwo Jima operation, but no battle started because we didn't fire.
But then you went to Okinawa?
We were under 63 days of air taxi. Oh yeah, we shot down planes there. We were there, but Okinawa was one of our hardest places. The Navy lost more personnel at Okinawa than the ground forces. They really put it to us up there. The entire Japanese Air Force has gone suicide. And believe me, they were hitting some ships, regardless of what anybody says. They were hitting some ships. They didn't seem to be able, and I think it's because they had lost all their good pilots. And perhaps the pilots that were suicidal maybe be pilots who weren't trained very well. About the only way they could hit you was to dive on. But our combat air patrol was good. They stopped a lot of raids. The Black Widows, used by the Army Air Force, did us a great. They're not as good as the Navy combat air force because it's not their ship they're defending either. Those Navy pilots got to land on those carriers, and I tell you, they'd fight like a bunch of bees, and sometimes get shot down too. So I have nothing but admiration for them. And when that was secured on April 7th, the anniversary of me losing my ship in the Guadalcanal area, we steamed to meet the Japanese fleet, the last of it, the Yamato. And there were 6 old battleships. I could name them if I tried hard here, but it was Tennessee and California was there. Idaho was there. West Virginia. I can't remember the Miro was there. There was 6 of us.
Colorado.
Colorado was there. And she was going out, and the captain, and I can't remember which one that was now. I believe it was Captain McCauley. When he talked to us as we steamed towards that rendezvous, he mentioned that our Mark 8 radar would probably be laying 16 inches on that, shells on that Yamato, of course, he knew it was there. But there was going to be an air attack before we got there. And we expected to meet them at midnight. The 5-inch 51, that's what I was on, will be charged with stopping the destroyers from ramming us. We know they're loaded. At Okinawa, we had so many air attacks that you really had a real problem relaxing. I mean, it was nervous. Well, they were hitting some shit. As I said, our combat air patrol and the Army Air Force combat air patrol at night, those Black Widows, did a job for us. But a lot of them still got through. As we begin to realize that the Navy wasn't going to spend a lot more time before we hit Kyushu, the gunnery officers started meeting with gun captains, which I was one.